I'm not a big fan of a lot of music that's coming out these days. I'll tell you why next on Pastor Bob Daly. Well, I've been involved with music for, well, all my life. And I've been involved with helping to promote and pioneer Christian rock and roll and metal for most of my life. So I'm not a novice, and I understand what I'm talking about because I've devoted my life to it. And what I'm about to say isn't just a flippant opinion that is uninformed and something I haven't thought about a lot. It really comes from my heart. And that is that I am really not a fan of a whole lot of music that's coming out these days, and that's been coming out for, well, the last few decades, honestly. Why? Because most of it is driven by a fan base, is driven by sales, and is driven by, especially, agenda. It's not what music was created for. Music was created to express ourselves, express our hearts, our devotion, our thoughts, our fears, our challenges, our love, our, everyday life, whatever it might be. That was the reason for music. And something happens when you sing, when you listen to it, when you perform it. It gives you an emotion, it gives you a drive, it speaks to your mind, it speaks to your emotions. It's a powerful thing. To trivialize it isn't right. For way too long, Christian music especially has been agenda driven instead of real creative. It's to the place where I can almost predict the next line sometimes. Same things rhyme, same stories, same hooks many times. And I've said before that, so much worship music sounds like U2. We already have U2. And man, I'm done with that. I wish people would begin to write some new worship music and some that's more creative and not so agenda driven. And you can tell sometimes in the lives and the hearts of people. Seriously. I trust a person who wears their music on their sleeves, so to speak, who really tells you their hearts, who is creative and not afraid of being agenda driven, who isn't so, I guess, promotion driven, who really doesn't care whether a certain song has so many hooks and so many, praise Jesus words and stuff that they're worried that it won't sell, that they're worried that it won't carry through. And, we keep being surprised by people, these people who have done, huge hits, that their lives aren't where they need to be. That isn't all of them, but it is a few, more than a few. And I think one of the reasons is that we've forgotten what music is all about. It's about creativity. It's about speaking from your heart. It's about writing about your own life. It's about being creative with a musical style, with chord progression, with a rhythm, with whatever it might be. It's about not just doing things differently for the sake of doing it differently, but for the sake of being creative, for the sake of making it your music. So when a band comes to me, and this happens all the time, and it's happened for 40 plus years, and they say, what do you think of this song? I used to just say, oh, that's nice. These days, I'm honest. These days, I'm more apt to say, I really don't like it. I don't like the lyrics. They're too predictable. They're too agenda driven. You know, if my agenda is for me to write some songs and you to be saved because I'm writing this song, well, I'm wondering how fair that is. And I wonder why we think people really want to hear that. Oh, it'll probably hit Christian radio, but it may not go any farther than that. There's a reason why some bands make it and some don't. Some make it because they have a record company that makes sure they do. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the ones that make it because people really want to buy the stuff. They speak to the hearts of people. They speak to a musical style. They're creative. You know, all of those things. Those are the records that I buy. Records, listen to. Like I'm still buying records. That's the music that I buy. That's the stuff I want to listen to because it really speaks to who I am. I am not agenda driven. I'm really not. I'm creative. I love that. I love being creative. And I love it that I don't have an agenda. I have Jesus. And I want my life to show that I have Jesus. Not because I want everybody to be saved, and I do, but because I want to be honest. I want them to get to know me personally. And I hope as they do that they'll find Jesus in me as well. That's the strongest music we can ever bring the world. And so if you're a songwriter, if you're in a band, if you're in the music industry, I hope you take some of these things to heart. I think we're all tired of agenda-driven music. At least I am. I'm really ready for a lot more creativity. It's one of the reasons that I love Christian heavy metal. It tends to be very creative. There are some bands that aren't. There's some bands that don't get it yet, that are still very agenda-driven. But for the most part, it's pretty creative. I like it. For that reason alone, I like it. And folks, I hope that you will begin the process of writing from your heart, of being transparent, of doing what music was created in the first place for: celebration, worship, honesty, revelation. You know, talking from your heart, sharing your life, sharing your faith, all of that, without the trite words, without the catchphrases, simply raw, hardcore, speaking from the heart. Agenda versus creativity. I hope you'll err on the side of creativity. God bless you. Have a great day.